Hello, good morning and welcome to Newsdesk here on the JoyNews channel. We are live on DSTV, channel 421 and GoTV 144. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. I am Ernest, and coming up, JoyNews' investigations reveal how some frozen food companies on the premises of the La Bianca Company Limited falsified content of their containers and ended up underpaying taxes to the tune of 4.6 million.
Have their children as clearing agents who are using exemptions to clear goods. Is that not conflict of interest? Tell me.
We have more on the JoyNews' latest investigation, frozen tax. Also, new higher water and electricity tariffs approved by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission takes effect today. How prepared are you for the new? We'll tell you the story of some barbers and hairdressers in Kumasi.
I'm always worried about the electricity cost when business is bad. The electricity credit doesn't span for long.
Any 1 week, Neko, Usikano, Ndiabasa, at the pressure bauson.
And they refer to themselves as some of the less thought about citizens, retirees. Abraham and Vida are calling on government to help. Stay tuned for more in our Living Standards series, and later here on Newsdesk, government spends 402 million on the National Cathedral project in 2021. That's according to the Auditor General's report. We'll bring you details, including several other projects captured under government's priority projects in the year under review. We have business, sports as part of this package. Please stay with us. Hello again, thanks for choosing us. Now, JoyNews' latest investigation has uncovered how some frozen food companies falsified content of their containers that led to underpayment of taxes up to the tune of 4.6 million Ghana cedis. Content of the containers, some of which were impounded and searched on the premises of the La Bianca Company Limited, were declared as sardinella fish instead of full chicken, a move deployed by unscrupulous companies to defraud the state. My colleague Latifi Dries Bamba reports.
You go to school with people. They copied during exams. They didn't know anything. You come because they are related to the board chairman. They go for interview and they are promoted. And you did well. You have not gotten your promotion.
Workers' Union of the Ghana Revenue Authority on the 24th of July 2019 venting their unhappiness with the political interference in their work, which they say is contributing to the revenue shortfalls in the country.
The same people who came in through political appointment have their children as clearing agents who are using exemptions to clear goods. Is that not conflict of interest? Tell me. And as officers, the policies that you brought, I mean, you don't expect me to import things and clear for government to get revenue. How many days must you advertise? Quarters that might not have passed through these areas.
The accusation by the staff of the Ghana Revenue Authority struck a chord with me. So on August 1, 2019, in a sting operation after the launch of Operation Collect, Name and Shame, a team from the Customs Staff Association and 2 other labor unions stormed the premises of La Bianca Company Limited to examine contents declared in the name of Ajax Company Limited and Whitestone Frozen Foods Limited. The objective was to verify the contents of 72 40-footer containers at their premises, following a tip-off that the companies involved have given false information to customs officials.
No, please, can you just come and put it here? Open the rubber. Yes. chicken.
Full chicken.
Yes, sir.
Full chicken. Whole chicken.
Whole hen.
Whole hen.
Yeah.
After hours of search, the team found out that the frozen food companies have concealed boxes of full chicken instead of sardinella fish they had stated on their declaration forms.
We are okay.
Yes.
On 30th July 2019, one of the frozen food companies, Ayas Company Limited, gave misleading information about the content of some 20 40-foot containers. In two separate shipments made on 26 July 2019 with varying declaration numbers, Ayas Company Limited paid a duty of 168,731 cedis 68 pesos and 166,731 cedis 68 pesos, totaling 335,463 cedis 36 pesos. By virtue of misclassification of content of the containers, Ayas Company Limited ended up underpaying a tax amount of 377,232 cedis 2 pesos, which should have gone to the state. Whitestone Frozen Foods Limited also declared to customs authorities as sardinella fish instead of chicken contents of at least 5 40-foot containers with varying declaration numbers, heavily protected by armed police officers. Documents cited by JoyNews shows that a container with commodity code 03035300 and 03035400 with varying declaration numbers paid a duty totaling 851,102 cedis 5 pesos, underpaying a tax amount of 807,915 cedis 12 pesos, which should have gone to the state. Ayas Company Limited and Whitestone Frozen Foods Limited paid 1,019,834 cedis 18 pesos instead of 2,204,174 cedis 32 pesos. So in just these shipments, the two companies put together defaulted up to the tune of 1,185,147 cedis 32 pesos. In the heat of the moment during one of the days of the investigations at the Tema Fishing Harbour, my cover was blown at the premises of La Bianca Company Limited by armed officers of the Ghana Police Service who were providing security there. Together with an associate of La Bianca Company Limited, they cursed and threatened to assault me. Armed officers from the Customs Staff Association quickly shielded me and escorted me to a nearby vehicle to prevent what would have been a brutal assault. The associate of Whitestone Company Limited, who led the threat and verbal abuse at me, ended up confessing to the crime of misdescribing content of the containers and threatened to expose another importer who he alleged is also evading tax.
So I swear to God, we're going to bring him down as well. Why is he? We also have it. Go and investigate that guy who is giving you bad information. He's also running a coastal. Conflict of interest. You won't sit down for this one. And now I'm going to catch the national security. Now you have to take that from GRA. And somebody is also defending that from GRA. You people going to sit there for this to happen. They are all Ghanaians. Who sits there for somebody to...
After months of investigations, JoyNews uncovered that by virtue of misdescription of content of containers, the companies involved underpaid 4.6 million Ghana cedis. Following the revelation, JoyNews confronted a representative of Ajax Company Limited with documentary evidence to inquire why the company gave misleading information to the state. His explanation was that the shipping company is the one that committed the error by deploying containers with content other than what they had purchased.
To explain how they came to misdescribe the product. And then also told me that we were no longer doing business until we had explanation of the circumstances. As we sit here, we cannot tell how they could possibly describe a whole container misdescribe a whole container as something else.
Meanwhile, attempts to get a response from Whitestone Frozen Food Limited have proved futile. Months of attempts to get a top hierarchy at the Ghana Revenue Authority to comment on the findings of this investigation has so far not yielded the desired result. A junior rank officer at Customs who spoke with me on the condition of anonymity said,
persons with political backing are doing it. I mean, deliberately misdescribing content on their containers, and they are doing so with brazen impunity. The difficulty with most of us is how the law is applied. Perpetrators are allowed to walk after paying the difference when they are caught. That, for me and most of my colleagues, is not deterrent enough because many of them get away with it.
The Customs Act of 2015 is, however, clear about what should happen to a person who falls foul to the provisions. A person who, quote, furnishes or causes to be furnished any information relating to any matter under this act, which the person knows to be false, commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of not less than 2,500 penalty units and not more than 7,500 penalty units, and any goods in respect of which the act was committed is liable to forfeiture to the state. Section 2 of the Customs Act 2015 also states that where the full amount of duties payable under Section 1 is not paid, quote, the person in contravention shall incur a penalty of not more than 300% of the amount not paid in addition to forfeiture of the goods, where applicable. And B, the person is liable on summary conviction to a fine of not more than 200% of the value of goods in question, or to a term of imprisonment of not more than 5 years, or to both. Portions of this provision were triggered when, after investigations, customs officials presented documents and evidence of misdescription to the companies. There was, however, no evidence of forfeiture of the goods. According to customs officials, leakages like the one uncovered in these investigations are among the drivers of the country's failure to generate enough revenue at the ports, making government's ambitious Ghana Beyond Aid agenda ever Herculean.
No, this is full chicken.
That's a full chicken.
Whole chicken. Whole hand.
And that's our latest investigative report. We'll bring you more by way of analysis in our subsequent bulletins. But government has spent approximately 9.2 billion Ghana cedis on its flagship programs in 2021. This according to the Auditor General's report. Tall among the list of programs are the National Cathedral construction, COVID-19 activities, and the free SHS policy. Of these, an amount of 142,762,500 Ghana cedis was spent on the National Cathedral construction and over 1.5 billion Ghana cedis on COVID-19 activity and vaccines. Let's share further details of the extract from the Auditor General's report in the following slide on your screen. So you see over there, fertilizer subsidy planting for food and jobs costing us 797 million in excess of that. We also have 114 million, more than that, for BEC and WASI. For the free SHS as well as TVET programs, government spent over $1 billion Ghana cedis in that regard. Now, for the school feeding for Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, 647 million, and in excess of that. LEAP for the Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection, over 279 million. We're seeing 192 million going for the nursing trainee allowances, and we know that that is even in arrears for this year. Transfer of YEA, government spent over 288 million Ghana cedis, and for the teacher training allowances as well as feeding, government spent in excess of 160 million Ghana cedis. More for you here, this expenditure of government flagship program for 2021. Scholarship for second cycle schools, we're seeing 216 million Ghana cedis. There's also the IPEP program there, which was under the Special Initiatives Program. We have the Nation Builders Coin. We'll be going into that shortly. But government spent 644 million Ghana cedis. The Zongo Development Initiative there, Arabic instructors, digital address system, railway development, that was 79 million Ghana cedis. And for the National Identification Program, more than 319 million was also spent. There's 1D1F, National Afforestation Development for the 6 new regions, COVID-19 activity, which we've already highlighted, the Unemployment Insurance Scheme, as well as the National Cathedral, which is actually a headline story, and the National Development Bank also, 858 in excess of that million Ghana cedis spent by the state. Ghana Cares Program is also there, and you have a lot more in the charts on your screen. You can find the details on myjoyonline.com, where we have excerpts of the Auditor General's report. Now, I'm talking about free SHS. President Akufo-Addo says he's open to a broader nationwide review of access to education in Ghana, especially the free SHS program. Now, the review, according to him, must look at funding, but also more specifically availability of money, access, and other factors that must work for the good of the Ghanaian people. Addressing leadership of the National Union of Ghana Students, the president said the Education Ministry is seriously looking at the issues to inform a policy direction going forward.
One of the things that people are calling for, and at some stage or another the government has to organize itself to respond to it, is this whole, they talk about reviewing SHS. I think we should have a broader conversation about the incidence of education on our national development and therefore also on our budgetary and public sector contributions to national education. Well, so many of the issues that you have brought forward, even though there are single items, all feed into the broader conversation of how much money is a society prepared to devote to education in all its various ramifications, whether it's talking about the feeding of children, whether they're talking about allowances for nurses and for teachers. We're talking about the level of monies that are devoted to scholarships, public scholarships. All of this should form part and parcel of that discussion. Already we spend considerable amounts of money on education in budgetary terms. I think you're aware of it. Higher than virtually all the countries on the continent. But nevertheless, as you can see from your own recital, it's still, if you like, inadequate. Yeah, because if it was adequate, it would deal with the amount that is spent on students for the feeding program. It would deal with the issue of training allowances. It would deal with the issue of scholarships. All these are the direct result of budgetary constraints that there are in the system. Already there are some who are eager to curtail some of these important initiatives like the free senior high school policy. There are powerful forces in the society that are against it and who are insisting that education should be what your parents can afford. And they should all contribute to paying for education. the same at the tertiary level. But I have a different view. I think that it's a public good. The benefits of it for the nation, for the society are obvious. You talk about, for instance, the ratio of enrollment at basic school level. We've now been able to translate it into what, 95%. This is an extremely important statistic. It means that substantially, virtually all Ghanaian children now have access at least to basic school education.
Well, let's do some more on this. Professor Jonathan Fletcher is former Dean of the College of Education and Leadership at the University of Ghana, and he joins us via Zoom with some more on this, developing story. Prof, thank you very much for your time here on Newsdesk. And so, for the very first time, we're hearing the President, talk about a review and the fact that we need to do this. Well, he alludes to the fact that this must be a national conversation. But he indicates that the Ministry of Education is already looking at this. Given the controversy and given how crucial this is, how do you suggest they approach this? Prof, you'd have to unmute so we can hear you.
Sorry, thank you very much. Sorry, I'm muting myself. Yeah, thank you very much. And I would like to take this opportunity to say hi to your cherished viewers. Yes, I think the message the President, I've just said, that message President delivered is a good message. I also agree that education is something that everyone must have access to. But I've always believed that education should not be the sole responsibility of government. I do not believe that any government can be solely responsible for education. Looking at the benefits that education brings, it looks like we need to invest more. And the more we invest in education, the more the yield will be. And so there is a need for other sectors and other organizations and other parties to support the delivery of education in this country. A lot has been said about this, and we all know the cost, and we all know how much we need to make sure we sustain this. It's very difficult. Now, we all know that its sustainability is becoming an issue. And therefore, there is time for all of us as a nation, not just the government, but all of us as a nation, to find ways in which we can ensure that the free SHS program, which is a very good program, first of all, can be sustained. And I think that's the message that we're all getting here, that we need to look for ways and means of doing that. And in doing that, we also need to look at how we're going to make sure that we don't compromise quality, and also make sure that we take into consideration equity. So there are three things that we are looking at. We're looking at equity, making sure that people who cannot afford education can have a way of accessing education through the help of others, and make sure that the quality is not compromised. Because I think we are in the 21st century, and we all know that we need knowledge, good competencies, and good character qualities, particularly the character qualities, discipline, integrity, leadership, responsible citizenship, and so on. But these things come at a cost. And therefore, as a nation, we must come together and then plan how we are going to get these three things, looking at our circumstances.
Right. Go ahead, sir. Just finish making.
I cannot prescribe any algorithm which we are going to find out how we're going to do this. But what I can say is that it is important for individuals, parties, all parties, parents, all stakeholders to embrace the idea that this is a good idea, and to embrace the idea that in order to sustain this, we all have to play a part. There must be an all hands on deck affair.
So you talk about equity, but also quality, and making sure that we do not compromise on the quality of our education. But there's also the stress. The President makes so much emphasis on access. The balance between quality and access has always been at the heart of this debate. How should we navigate this? What are the elements that we should be looking at in order to find that fine balance? Whilst we're creating access for the number of people that need to access secondary education, we're also maintaining the quality at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what exactly the president said. The president said that resources are not adequate. Now, if we had adequate resources, we wouldn't be having that. It wouldn't be a problem, because it is because we don't have adequate resources, which is why we have to maintain that balance. And of course, in many cases, in maintaining balance, there is a tendency of tilting the balance in favor of access. And that is where we need to, as a nation, look at ways and means in which we can increase resources in order to make sure that we get both access and quality.
Right, and this has obviously been very political. Would you say that, we must have a dispassionate, a non-partisan approach where we are going to bring everybody to the table to look at this?
Well, exactly, and I think the free HS policy is a good policy. Now, we know that the NDC started this progressively free, and then the MPP has continued. So definitely it's something that both political parties are in favor of. It's just that we need to find a way of making sure that we're able to sustain it. And the president is quite right saying that the benefits of education are enormous. I mean, we cannot, the more you invest, the more you reap. And so as a nation, we must all consider that if we're going to get quality education and good access and make sure that we can sustain this, then we have to, it has to be all hands on deck affair. We need to contribute one way or the other. All stakeholders must come together to make that contribution, not just the government alone. That is not going to happen.
All right. We'll leave it here. Thank you very much. That's Professor Jonathan Fletcher, former Dean of the College of Education and Leadership at the University of Ghana. Grateful for your time. And we can now hear from the Ghana Union of the National Union of Ghana Students, NUGS. The president was with the President Akufo-Addo yesterday at the Jubilee House, and they are urgently asking government to address the issues of school feeding, non-payment of allowances, the guarantor system, and many other issues, as well as scholarship grants that have delayed. But right now, let's talk about the tariffs. As new electricity tariffs kick in from September 1, some barbering shops and beauty salons in Kumasi are planning to increase their service charges. Some players in the beauty business are not happy with the decision, but they say the 27.1% increase in electricity tariffs will affect their overhead costs. Love FM's Manu, however, reports that some customers are also considering reducing their patronage of makeover service.
Come to industry, the non-residential, the chobbers, the hairdressers. And they were paying 79 pesos. They are now going to pay 83.
Executive Secretary of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, Dr. Ishmael Aka, announcing the new utility tariff increment. The announcement has since received a better acceptance by various sections of the public.
Business name kwa. Sisi anu eni wa light no so. When you need 2 weeks.
I am always worried about the electricity cost when business is bad. The electricity credit doesn't span for long.
Any 1 week. Neko. Usika no unya. Ndiye basa the pressure bauso.
Like many small-scale enterprises, barbering shops and hairdressing salons run heavily on electricity. Naneji, for almost a decade now, has been serving his customers, mostly men, with different hairstyles. Barbering, he tells me, is a profession he delightfully pursued after forfeiting his professional football career. Huge profit gains in the past years incentivized him into the hairstyling industry, but business has been slow in the last 2 years, stemming largely from expensive utility costs and alleged electricity credit theft.
Now, Ivandi. Be ultimate na adwuma ne koso ti me kwa adwuma me ye adwuma utimi say sisi ano na otiase me botom ayema na emami nhunu light system.
When I started at Ivandi Hostel, business was good. Because of that, I wasn't so much bothered about the electricity costs. But from the past 2 years, the business isn't booming. The power doesn't last for long.
The last 2 years, okoto light na unhunu nani so sisi anasa adwuma no nso so nyedey enkosa.
Tariff adjustments are usually passed on to customers. Some customers have cut down on the number of times they visit the barbering shop or salon for a clean makeover.
Since everything is being increased, and then the barbering too is also increased, the little money that is being put or bring to the customer, when you add it up, it will be a huge sum of money. So when it happens like that, it will affect me. Because the tariff will be increased. The same thing, the consumer or the customer will bear the cost. So here is the case when the cost is passed on to us. We will definitely stop or reduce the rate at which we come and shave our hair.
Unlike Kobiko Barbering Shop, who is likely to have some customers pass through, Silence fills the Gift Beauty Parlor located at the Ayija Business Enclave. Owner Gift Asari tells me her customers hardly visit for their hairdo. The country's present inflationary pressures, coupled with the utility tariff, adversely affect her business.
Everything, including electricity, is now expensive. The prices of goods keep increasing. Customers don't also want you to increase your price. People aren't coming to the salon. I am even considering selling other items to this.
With power tariffs expected to go up by some 27.1%, she has already increased charges for hair washing at the salon.
15 cedis. I've increased to 15 Ghana cedis recently. The electricity too doesn't last.
11 out of 29 tariff adjustments saw increments, with industries slapped with huge costs within the last decade. This, according to the AGI Business Barometer, affected the competitiveness of the Ghanaian industry on the global market. Economist at the Department of Economics, KNUST, Professor Eric Otin Abeye says, although the recent lower tariffs for business is ideal, it will not be economical.
Any increment in tariff is an increment, and that will by all means increase the cost of production. So for businesses, Oliver asks for more. They will think that there should be further decrease in the average tariff rate that is pushed on them. The technology that they also use for production, they should check it. Because sometimes people use obsolete machines and equipment that use a lot of electricity. So that's why we may have to promote energy efficiency, which the Energy Commission is doing, so that we use modern equipment, modern technology that are low power consumers. In that case, even though the tariff have gone up a bit, because your equipment are power efficient, you may be able to save on electricity bill. But as for it being the tariff increment being economical, of course it cannot.
Although the 2022-2025 tariff decision may see small and medium-scale businesses pay less utility tariffs, they fear going out of business. Some are already considering alternative power sources. Nana Ibaba is saving up to purchase solar panels for a more convenient and cost-effective business.
I am
planning on getting solar panels. Then I will connect only the air conditioner to ECG. Professor Otin Abeye is admonishing Ghana's economic management team to man affairs to cushion businesses against the skyrocketing inflationary pressures.
Going forward on a quarterly basis, these tariffs will have some kind of automatic adjustment, not automatic really, but a managed adjustment, where they will look at the rate of exchange of the cedi to the dollar. they will look at the rate of inflation. If they go the trend that is on now, like upward increment in inflation and also continuous depreciation of the cedi, then it means that on a quarterly basis, we expect that tariff on the non-residential and even the residential will go up. It's assuming that the economic signals change for the better. Then we expect that the average tariff paid by the non-residential and the residential will reduce. But this depends on the economic management of the country to a larger extent. Of course, we have to forget about the Russia-Ukraine thing and look within what we can do to cushion manufacturers, producers, and the SMEs who are giving us something to eat, a service provided to make our life go by.
Businesses are already reeling from the impacts of the fast depreciation cedi and inflationary pressures. They may have to cut down on energy spending to survive Ghana's present business environment. For JoyNews, Manu Kweku reporting.
Now, government's Nation Builders Core program ends today. The Akufo-Addo-led administration introduced NAPCO in 2017 as part of measures to address graduate unemployment in the country. The program has run for 3 years, with some beneficiaries being transferred onto the U-Start program. Others have, however, not been successful migrating onto the new program or even securing permanent employment. There are also some beneficiaries who are still owed 11 months of the arrears of the allowances. A notice was served on their platforms on August 31, 2022 that the program has ended without any information on when the arrears will be paid. Joining me via Zoom is Nana Techi, the PRO of the NAPCO Association. Nana Techi, thank you for your time here on Newsdesk. And so, a few weeks ago, you hit the streets demanding the payment of your allowances. You've been following up. What is the latest you have from the follow-up?
Thank you very much. And let me take this opportunity to extend my warm greetings to workaholic NAPCO beneficiaries who have been asked today to get back to their unemployed state. Indeed, we have staged a number of demonstrations against the government with regards to our unpaid allowances. We have submitted numerous petitions to NAPCO Secretariat and that of the government. As I speak to you, we haven't heard from the authorities. We have not heard anything from them. Yesterday, a notice was issued to us that we should retrograde back to our unemployed state. And those who would be interested to subscribe to the U-Start program should stand by so that when the U-Start program is launched, then they can, register. And so as I speak to you, we haven't heard anything from government. And honestly speaking, I was born in 1994. Since I grew up, I have never seen a government that is insensitive like this, to be honest with you. When after the expiration of the NAPCO scheme, if you would remember, we were asked to remain at post pending permanent arrangement and negotiation with the model implementation partners. And so all NAPCO trainees who were on the program at the time adhered strictly to the directives from government. We have remained at post for 11 good months. We have worked sacrificially, relentlessly, and magnificently for 11 months on an empty stomach. And just yesterday, we had we should back to our unemployed state.
Yeah, so Nana Techi, you're saying that you have not received any response on the payment of your allowance. And just to be clear, you are dealing with the Secretariat. Is that so?
Very well.
And, okay, so beyond that, there's the opportunity for some of your members to move on to the U-Start program. Is that something that you're willing to take up?
Was that the negotiation? Let's ask ourselves. Was that the bargain?
Well, that is an opportunity being given you. Will you take it?
Is it launched? Is the Youth Start program launched? It's not launched yet. You and I do not know when exactly the Youth Start program will be launched.
Will you take it if it's rolled out? Are your members willing to do so?
Do they have the requisite experience? Were they trained on that? So I think that we have been defrauded by the government. It is clear. And what is the guarantee? What is the guarantee that when the Youth Start program is launched and NAPCO trainees who would want to be engaged, who would want to subscribe to the program, what is the guarantee that they will be shortlisted?
What are you going to do next? And I'm talking about your demand for the payment of the allowance.
Yes, we think that we have been deceived by the government. And so I think when Parliament resumes and our allowances are not paid, we will officially petition the Speaker of Parliament to add his influential voice to our plea for the payment of our allowances. And also, we are putting all our documents together, all the prima facie evidence that we have, we are putting them together to drag government to court, because this treated method to NAPCO beneficiaries is unfair.
Right.
It is uncalled for. Let us be honest. It is uncalled for.
Nana, let's see what happens eventually. I'm grateful that he could join us. That's Nana Tichi. He speaks for NAPCO beneficiaries.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Ghana Institution of Engineering is asking for all public procurement processes in the construction, infrastructure, and engineering sectors of the economy to be digitized. According to the institution, this has become necessary to reduce heightened corruption within the engineering space. President of the institution, Reverend Professor Charles Enumadam, spoke at the launch of a scenario-based learning platform to strengthen the training of business ethics among members.
President of the institution, Reverend Professor Charles Enum Adams, expressed worry about how corruption has become widespread within the infrastructure, construction, and engineering sectors. He therefore urged government as well as professionals to embrace digitalization of procurement processes in the public sector as a means to curb the menace.
We implore government to strengthen the Engineering Council of Ghana and enforce the regulations and laws governing the practice of engineering, so that many more engineering practitioners will register and therefore benefit from programs like what we are going to launch with a scenario-based learning tool. There is a need for government to digitize procurement and processes, which will weed out or will get rid of human interfaces that promote unethical conduct or corruption in construction, infrastructure, and engineering sectors to increase transparency. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Council of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, I'd like to appreciate the GIZ and the Alliance for Integrity.
It is against this backdrop that the institution has launched a scenario-based learning platform for the strengthening of the training of business ethics among the membership of the GHIE.
At our last council meeting, the decision was taken that all members will have an ethics certification program. They will go through an ethics certification program. And the SDL is one of the main components. And I was even discussing that we actually will suggest to the professional practice to come again. I think looking at what is on the platform, every member needs to do the SDL at least once within a certain period.
The launch was themed Digitalization as Strategy in Anti-Corruption Efforts and its Integrity Prospects in Africa.
Well, turning to other news this morning, Canadian investors have announced plans to expand investment to Ghana in the area of technology. According to Senior Trade Commissioner at the Canadian High Commission in Ghana, Andrew Maharaj, both countries have had good trade relations over the years in diverse sectors, and the one field left to explore is green technology. Here's more. The maiden CEO's Connect Breakfast meeting by the Canada-Ghana Chamber of Commerce sought to provide a networking platform for Ghanaian and Canadian companies. Speaking at the event, Senior Trade Commissioner at the Canadian High Commission in Ghana, Andrew Maharaj, announced that the country's peace and democracy motivated Canadian businesses to expand in Ghana.
We are a world leader in technology, clean technologies. We have water and wastewater, energy efficiency, clean energy, hydrogen, everything, the gamut of clean technologies, world-class companies. We need to do a better job of promoting those companies and those capabilities. ICT, that includes fintech, telecoms, education technologies. I'm going to leave out a lot, but I'll just say cybersecurity, all of those products. If you look behind the scenes, we're not always the big consumer brands, but we're a lot of the B2B brands. So a lot of the big companies, if you look in the back office and the products they're using to support their business processes, they're often Canadian solutions. So we need to get more of that into the Ghanaian market, and these will be win-win opportunities.
Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, urged Ghanaian businesses to form sustainable partnerships with Canadian companies to create job opportunities to minimize the migration of Africans for greener pastures.
Almost every country around the world is suffering from the 3 F's, as the IMF said it: high food prices, high fuel prices, and high cost of finance. Canada still shows some resilience and stability, so we have a lot to learn and engage with them. So I'm very delighted about that. I'm very delighted to be speaking to the business people here. I see a lot of young people who say, "Oh, I have to go here, I'll make it over there." And I'm saying, you people, you don't know. Because you don't travel, you think it's just easy to go and land yourself in somebody's country and you make it. When you have your own country, even the resources you take to go to that country, if you have to use them well in your own country, you will make it. I'm pleading with those who are trying to sneak in that if your documents are not right, if your reasoning is not right, you may not get the visa.
President of the Canada-Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Alexander Norte, indicated that Ghana's economy has survived many challenges, making it a viable business environment to invest.
I must thank God. Most of us thought that COVID was going to ravish Ghana. But you see, the challenges that we face through our economic challenges that we've faced over the years has built us, has given us resilience to be able to survive despite whatever, despite our bad economic rating, despite COVID, the pandemic, whatever that comes the shores of Ghana, we are able to take it and still thrive despite. So I know that we will still be able to surmount this challenge of having a negative rating from the rating agencies. We have to survive despite the challenges. We've always done so since the First Republic. We've been through coups, we've been through all sorts of challenges, famines, all sorts. But we're still surviving today, and I believe that Ghana still has a lot of potential. And it's people like you in this room that make that potential a reality.
And that's business. Handing it to you, Ernest.
Daryl, thank you very much for business, and it's now time for sports. And of course, Lawrence is here to bring us the very latest. Lawrence, it's all about the transfer countdown, as you can see in the video out there. Oreku is the lead anchor, right?
Yeah.
But there's a story this morning about the move of Anthony to Manchester United. How are fans reacting to this?
It's a good one for Manchester United fans because since the start of the window, they've been crying for a right winger. And then Eric Ten Hag, since coming in, has been insisting on getting 2 players, Frankie de Jong and then Anthony. This is the case. Frankie de Jong case is different. It's not happening as things stand now. But Anthony has sealed a move, and it was confirmed this morning by United. Fans have been great. The welcoming has been great because if we look at the kind of technicality he brings to the team, it's what they need at the moment. And they've been reacting positively. And the fact that they've sealed it on transfer deadline day is something that they should be glad.
I see. And the Ghanaian interest in the transfers are always important. I mean, Anthony is moving from Ajax, and we have our own Kudus there. What's happening to him?
for a player like Kudus, who had a brilliant preseason, if I should put it, because he scored four goals in 4 games during preseason, he was expecting to have a good start to the season. 4 games into the season, and he has played just 29 minutes. He obviously isn't happy. There's interest from Everton, a move that the player is keen on. I read he has already agreed personal terms with Everton. However, Ajax are not willing to release him. Ajax don't want him to. Imagine someone like Kudus boycotting training. It tells you how bad he feels. Yeah, how bad he feels at the club. So it's something that he's
obviously, if you have little play time, I mean that is
you're not happy about. Yeah.
So, but let's talk about the transfer countdown show. So it's on tonight at 10 p.m.
to midnight.
Yeah. What can we look forward to?
So we look forward to, obviously there's a Ghanaian interest too. We talk about the Ghanaians who have made a move over the summer. Some have made...
Definitely. And the exclusives is what I usually look forward to.
We have some Ghanaian players who will be speaking to us as well.
Great. So you definitely don't want to miss the transfer countdown show. And the hashtag is...
Joy Deadline Day.
Joy Deadline Day. So definitely. And we're getting interactive tonight. Oriku is the lead anchor for the show. You don't want to miss it. Thank you very much, Lawrence, for bringing us sports. That's our show this morning. We have more for you later at midday. Stay with us.